Patti Smith devotion, and a new author for me, which is Amelia Pardo. This is a series of short stories, and I'm halfway through, but I'm already rereading it. It's my first time being warm, retracted, ducking his head beneath the bricks, his plastic cup of beer swirling around in his cup and feet dangling on the floor. There is a clatter as someone drops a glass bottle of beer in front of us. The girl looks up at her dancing partner in a moment of brief stun, eyes buffle wide before breaking out in a cackle. They rub noses and laugh and continue bopping about the sticky dance floor. Every couple of minutes she wraps her chipped burgundy nails around the back of his neck, interlacing her fingers into his hair and leaning into his face. Sharing the same breath, their circulatory systems combine and their lips lock, and it is as though they have a lung and half a heart each. Then they pull away and she begins twisting and turning and her hair goes gloriously flaring into the red air again. Their lovers' dance begins with their fingertips, coursing right through their shared blood vessels down to their feet. Right now in this bar under the canal in Utrecht, past midnight, -3 degrees outside, ice settling on the cars and bikes. It is just them and the sound of the band. Even as I watch them, I am no intruder. It reminds me of being at Gare du Nord. I never know if I should do it, waiting to board the train from Paris to Brussels. A couple 40 meters in front of me. They kiss like two butterflies performing a ballet over one another's skin. Every time their faces meet, the jewelry box with the little pirouetting ballerina in a pleated rose tutu creaks open a little and I hear her twirling to the chimes and flutes again. I like to make up stories for these people I see, not only those in lovers' embraces at the train station, but I will never know the wrinkle in every stranger's smile and when they had to retire their childhood teddy bear and how long it's been since they were last kissed. A bit like I will never be able to read the first and last lines of every book ever written. Imagination is an unquenchable monster. The train I'm on seems to be stopping in all the remote towns in Belgium, which I've never read on a map. It only takes 1 or 2 minutes after setting off from the station for us to emerge onto fields. Belgium seems as flat as Holland. I don't know when my train is supposed to arrive in Ghent or Gand, and the French they are speaking sounds more unfamiliar. I'm reading and rolling cigarettes for want of something else to do. I've been staring out of the window a little also. I arrived and checked into the hostel, managed to lug my suitcase up to the top floor with encouragement from the receptionist. Enjoy the view. The city is a lot nicer than I had anticipated, and now 6 p.m. I have spent the past 2 hours wandering around, and I suppose ticking off those things you are supposed to see. I'm not usually a good tourist, but it seems to be one of those walkable cities where everything is close by and easy to see. I quite like this, being alone in a new city, but I also feel a little too aimless. I wrote on the train here, but I think I need to write all night. Then I think I will be more okay. I can't help but thinking everything I write is not magnificent enough, but I am just documenting like Patti Smith documents Paris in Devotion, or Simone de Beauvoir documents America. I found America day by day in a marvelous bookstore in Utrecht, and I read through the first week of 4. Maybe I can be a philosopher too. Her writing was plainer than I would have expected, and this I write in a cafe in Ghent. It's on the river and the windows looking out onto the water into the little red houses with the little steps are steaming up around the edges as the sky begins to go from white and grey to blue and grey, like a bruise but less mottled. I can hear French on my left, Flemish straight ahead, Italian to my right. It's like I'm sitting at the centre of the Tower of Babel, except the people are playing chess and sipping alternative milk, flat whites, instead of crumbling slabs of stone and rage and confabulation. I'm uncertain as to whether this is the right word, but I have been wanting to use it for a while. The cafe has just started playing Fade Into You by Mazzy Star, and it feels fitting. I look to you and I see heaven. I keep writing about heaven. We use it as an adjective until it becomes a proper noun, or we can hope that that happens. I think every Hope Sandoval song is slow and sad, and I still haven't properly cried even since my birthday a month ago, and even then the waterworks failed to arrive. I wonder why it is that writing brings me clarity, or maybe it just allows me to indulge my too many thoughts. Retracted and I had another conversation until 2 o'clock in the morning about conversations, especially those with strangers in hostels on first meeting them. This Goldilocks game of chess. How human nature is self-indulgent. He described conversing with someone who loves to talk about themselves as feeding hay to a horse with every follow-up question. I told him that I worry that I talk too much, that on the surface I can be very easily profiled in a particular way which disagrees with many. That I love to talk on different topics and to tell stories. I do not think there is any formula, and neither is it some rigid game of tennis. Speaking is writing with the tongue, and two people can hold a pen. Heaven in French translates to paradise. I suppose we call it a paradise too. We all walk around as though we've lost something. They should call it the collective fall, paradise lost. I don't know the precise French translation for headless chicken, but the restaurants here in Paris mention something about poulet. I wonder if the French have a term for the gnawing feeling that you've left the house missing something, except you're unsure precisely what. Malady might come close. We're all sick in the stomach with it. I keep reading the same line, the madness of it all. Is it a cliche for a person to lose their mind? The human condition is something I can't quite put my finger on. I stopped eating chicken years ago. Couldn't deal with the flashes of raw meat running through my mind each time I'd sink my teeth into it. A severed head is a good remedy for all this stewing in the mind. Exiled from heaven in French translates to chassé du paradis. The human condition is a form of exile, I think. Even if this exile, milling, missing, looking, is a prerequisite to paradise. All of this is painfully amorphous. I know that 3 minus 2 equals 1 and 1 plus 2 equals 3, and heaven in French translates to paradise. I am spiraling and going a little bit mad this evening. I think probably because there are so many out of my control things happening at the moment. Not out of the way extraordinary in the good sense of the word, like a surprise birthday cake on your birthday, although that really wouldn't be such a great surprise for me because I'd probably just stare at it and want so badly to eat it but not be able to, and so it would just haunt me really. But anyway, extraordinary more in the way those robot people on the news announce when they are about to discuss some unprecedented news headline. And I'm convinced that when my parents were 24, the world wasn't nearly this unprecedented all the time. But then again, what excitement would a precedented headline even bring? Anyway, because I'm evidently a little spinny this evening, I will try to recall everything I had consumed today. Breakfast I had late, around 1 p.m. It was an apple date porridge with those seeds which Mum always likes to add to everything. And as I stirred the pot, I was just thinking about how when she dies, I'll grieve over a steaming pot of stewed apple and flax seeds, for I don't know, forever probably. Then later in the evening I had some lemony green olives, a salad thing, which had edamame in, a pear and some cherries. I've also had 3 cups of tea, a coffee and crossed out 2 cigarettes, and I think I should have written this list vertically in a proper list so that I could see it all. For a while she seemed strangely indolent and luxuriously compliant, allowing herself to be transported by the pollens of spring. In their languid nights they glimpsed into one another's world. He spoke of a privileged life. His father a diplomat, his mother from a prominent Swiss family. Privately tutored, he excelled in languages and was socially impeccable, yet entirely restless, consumed by the desire to tear things apart and rearrange according to his own design. He found solace in the poet Rimbaud, who did so with words. This is from Patti Smith's Devotion, which I actually prefer the bit before the actual book, but I feel bad for saying that. This one's called City. I am an ephemeral and not at all dissatisfied citizen of a metropolis thought to be modern because every known taste has been avoided. In the furnishings and exteriors of its houses, as well as in the plan of the city, here you would never point to the traces of any monument to superstition. Morality and language are reduced to their most basic expression indeed. These millions of people who feel no need to know one another experience such similar kinds of education, occupation, and old age that their lifespans must be several times shorter than those which a mad statistic determines for the peoples of the continent. Just as from my window I see new spectres rolling through the thick and eternal fumes of coal fires, our shadow of the woods, our summer's night, modern-day furies in front of my cottage, which is my country, and all my heart, since everything here resembles this. Death without tears, our active daughter and servant, and a despairing love, and a pretty crime, whimpering in the mud of the street, critique of the modern city, where, like, everyone has a similar shared experience, but no one knows anyone. I met a woman from Brazil who makes eyes for a living. She explained carefully, with intense eye contact, how she paints the little blood vessels around the edges. Apparently even fake eyes get all bloodshot and sleepy. It sounds a meticulous protocol. She takes a strip of red thread, teases it apart to isolate the fibres. Apparently the fibres are thin enough to look like charters of blood beneath the sclera. Fear I've caught some lurgy from some place. Did my Monday chores regardless. Life is a trudge through to-do lists. I trudged through treacle terror, tainted terrible. Didn't send the parcel I was supposed to do. Drank 2 cups of lemon, ginger and honey because that's what Dad used to give us when we were sick as kids. Think the ginger's supposed to fight off the nausea, but I'm pretty sure it's sleep I need. Rationing my Becky till I arrive in Paris. The hostel room smelled of tobacco and sweat this morning, and when I went to turn on the shower, the smell of piss rose up through the drain. Paris is a dirty city and it doesn't hide it. You are forced to bathe in its grime and filth, and at least it's not summer. Every time I catch my breath, another siren sets off. Like the Odyssey, except we don't all set off dancing at the sound, at the peril of self-abandonment and, well, the end of ourselves. 12th of February, Paris. A man just came up to me at the cafe I'm sitting outside and asked for me to buy him a café noir. As his card wasn't working or was lost, I don't know, his story kept changing. He left me thinking, how do I owe a man I've only just met? And met is a stretch. I think he may have thrown me a bonjour now, but now I think back, perhaps even that was lacking. I at least offered him an enchanté. Far too sweet of me. I do find myself feeling as though I owe people far too often. I suppose we are both human, but such encounters fail to convince me of any sort of shared collective consciousness. Non, pardon, monsieur. And I should have dropped the pardon. Even when speaking French, I am far too English about it all. Retracted asked me if the train ride to Ghent was pretty, and I suppose it was, but it didn't look too different to England, and I think a lot of things become pretty because they are different from what our eyes have been trained to look at, and thus desensitized to. Desensitization. We learnt about it in the neuroscience module. Learnt about the principle of reciprocal inhibition. One cannot be simultaneously relaxed and anxious. I stole a fork and a spoon. The spoon was accidental from the hostel I was staying at in Ghent. I don't think they'll miss it. I mean, they're currently preoccupied with faulty plumbing in the communal kitchen. I boarded the wrong train or was distracted staring out of the window when I look up and we're at Eindhoven. But not Lille Flanders and Pepperidge instead. I pull out the map and I'm somehow past Ypres, where we went on a school history trip, and almost reaching Dunkirk. I try not to curse as I did yesterday at watching my bus to Antwerp drive off without me. The train conductor who just passed and spared me and fine sympathised with a lot of warmth for a phlegm, saying they were only allowed to announce the stops in Dutch and French, but I think really she was just having a dig at stupid English people for always needing spoon feeding when on soil that is not English. At least I packed lunch and I tried to think positively. Be resourceful is what I have tried to keep reminding myself throughout this trip since the pillow incident in my first night in Paris. That and keep writing. So I took out my contraband hostel communal kitchen fork, which I had wrapped up in toilet roll and which 2 of the prongs had bent whilst being stuffed in my bag, perhaps some form of divine retribution for breaking one of the 10 commandments and thieving. The ticket office lady either especially took pity or just didn't want to deal with me anymore, making a special announcement on the overhead speaker when the train 40 minutes later was approaching Kortrijk. Not in English, mind, but it sounded like she included every possible Flemish dialect and version of French, probably to twist and dig the spear in deeper. I write this sitting on another train, which is leaving Roubaix. Hopefully the next stop is Lille Flanders. I don't know how to pronounce that. I should be almost at Paris, but at least I brought lunch and stole a fork.